Hey, this is Matt Wenning at WenningStrength.com, and today we're going to talk about the Minimal Manual. Remember, there's two of them. This one's Minimal Time. And we're going to talk about how it came to be. So let's get into it. So the year was about 2012, and this bigger guy named Rob comes into the gym. We call him Big Rob, or the world's strongest hipster. And Rob was sitting around 350, 360 pounds. He used to play pro ball, but he ended up having cancer. He gets out of chemo. He's in super terrible shape, but he's cancer-free. But his life is just completely changed, and he's holding so much bad weight, and he's not really in good shape, and blah, blah, blah. Well, the first thing that I start to realize, and this was one of the first clients that I ever really played with this, is that he could probably only withstand one upper body day and one lower body day per week. And we separated them in 3-day stints. And what I started to realize was this was an experiment at first, is that Rob could barely handle that. We were literally dragging a sled for like 50 feet with like 100 pounds, and he was either puking or nauseous. So we started literally from the bottom. Now, yes, he was already a big guy, but he was the most out of shape person I had ever seen in my life due to the chemo and just poor life decisions, okay? Now, fast forward to about 2 to 3 months later, I started noticing that he was adapting a little bit to the training. Remember, I'm only saying 3 or 4 months. He's starting to be able to finish the sled dragging. He's starting to finish the work capacity. You know, by this time I was already experimenting with Wenning warm-ups. He was able to do the Wenning warm-ups and not look completely white, gassed, or puking. And I started to notice that his general physical preparedness or his conditioning was higher. That started to really change my mind onto what I thought was achievable or what you needed to do to be a better lifter. See, pre-Rob or pre-2012-ish, I thought that everybody needed to train 4 days a week or more. I thought that optimal training wasn't individual, it was just a number, kind of like what we talked about in the Smoloff programs or the Chico programs, right? If you're not fit enough to do it, it's just you're not fit enough. It's not, it needs to be adapted to you. My mindset completely changed courses with Rob. I started to notice in 4 or 5 months that he was able to complete a lot of the capacity work. The next 4 to 5 months, or upwards of about a year at that point, I started to notice his strength was coming around, and this is where everything changed. I started to notice that work capacity was the number one thing that most people need before they get strong, which is the complete opposite of how most of us think. But Rob was the one that created the Minimal Manual, and I kept a pretty detailed log on how I was doing this and how he would respond. Keeping in mind, this is where the thought process also came from. It's not what you can do, it's what you can recover from. So now we're at about a year. Rob starts to get in better shape. He starts to get stronger, and he starts to ask me about possibly doing a powerlifting meet. So I said, well, let's give it another 10 to 12 months. So that'll be almost 2 years of training. And then I'll start helping you with the powerlifting. But I think if we start pushing towards specific number goals, that you're going to get burned out. And I want this to be a lifestyle change. Now, keep in mind, Rob still trains with me. This is 2021 now. We're talking 2012. So he's almost been here 10 years. So long story short, what ends up happening is we start to train more like powerlifting, maintaining that Wenning warm-up base, which you'll see in the Minimal Manual. And the first meet that he goes to, we ramp him up really, really slow. I don't let him touch anything above, say, 75 or 80% of what I think he can do. And I'm always cautious about him not overtraining. He goes to his first powerlifting meet, and I want to say 2014 or 13, and he squats a little over 6, he benches 5, and he deadlifts 700 pounds, training 2 times a week. I was blown away. I remember driving home. I think the meet was over on the west side of Ohio, close to the Indiana line. And I remember driving home and thinking my mindset was completely wrong. And what I mean by that is that I started to really realize that people can only train what they can recover from. And Rob could only recover from 2 days a week at that time. And so I only trained him 2 days a week, and he flourished. Now, if I were to go back in that time and train Rob 4 days a week, Rob would have probably quit within 2 to 3 months. And if you ever run into him in person, he'll tell you, all the other people that he went to try to help him get back in shape, they pushed him too hard, too fast, and he got beat up. And he got injured, and he got sick, and he didn't feel good, and all this other stuff. The key is that really good long-term progress takes consistency and also an understanding of what you can actually adapt to. So Rob's training protocol is really what developed the minimal time manual, because I have seen people get insanely strong, and in some cases stronger training twice a week than 4 times a week, depending on what they can recover from. So I hope this helps open up your mind. Obviously, if you want to check out the minimal manual, we don't have it for very expensive on the website, but I think that it's an understanding that the manuals that we have on the website, we have either ran ourselves through or clients through and dialed it to a T and really come up with the best information that we possibly can. And in Rob's case, training 2 days a week was amazing. Now, Rob did get stronger once we flipped him to 4 days a week, but we didn't do that for nearly 2.5 years. So go check out wenningstrength.com and check out the minimal manual and see what all the buzz is about.